Right here on Newstalk 1250 WTMA.
The Morning Bird, Richard Todd, WTMA.
And on the line with us, we have James J. Kilpatrick.
Yes.
We are
in the background.
we are honored, Mr. Kilpatrick, to be speaking with you once again. Hello.
Fine, thank you, sir.
And we have the critic here. It's his 100th commentary anniversary.
I think that's a great anniversary. Let him go for 1,000.
Oh, thank you. James, or Jack, may I call you Jack?
Yes, please.
Let me say that I always thought you were intellectually superior to Shane Alexander on the old
You're
60
a man
Minutes.
of great good judgment, Tim.
Yes.
Heard your voice.
And you're definitely one of my main influences
Oh, thank you, sir.
in my editorializing.
Well, for 17 years, I wrote about 10 editorials a week.
Whoa.
Wow.
That was 6 days a week, And,
Wait, we don't want to hear about that. They only make me do 5. So.
The critic was just complaining that he had 5 a week, and he said, James J. Kilpatrick doesn't write that many. And so why should
not
he?
now, but I sure did when I was editor of the Richmond News Leader.
Wow. Do you have any words of wisdom, some sage advice for Mr. Critic on what he might do to prepare himself for continual weekly commentaries?
Oh, just never be wishy-washy.
Exactly.
If you're going to be wrong at the top of your voice.
Great idea.
Well, he does that on a regular basis, so I think he knows all about that
I
already.
understand.
I think he's heard that advice.
Well, it's very sound advice. Nothing will kill an editorial commentary faster than being fair. I mean, that's business about being fair. Watch out for that. Life is not fair.
Well, we really appreciate talking to you today, Mr. Kilpatrick.
I wish the critic all the luck in the world as he goes for 10,000.
Thank you, and you too.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Kilpatrick.
Right on.
All right.
That was a little sample there from the Critics' 100th critical commentary. And listening back to that, of course, that's the legendary James J. Kilpatrick. We had a number of people who called in that day, including the late mayor of North Charleston, Bobby Kynard. We had Bobby Kynard call in that day for the 100th commentary, and of course, just this story about Bobby Kynard recently that happened. That was really
that
sad.
after or before we sent Hansky trick-or-treating, ringing on James J. Kilpatrick's doorbell at 6:30 in the morning on our show? Because I remember that other thing. He must have
before.
either. It must have been because
we didn't talk to him after that.
Yeah, I think he hated us.
Or he wouldn't
after
talk
that.
to us after that too. We have Adam Taylor, Uncle Miles, Hollie Anderson, Jack Hunter, the Southern Avenger, Devin Grant, all in the studio, and the critic, who hopefully will be at Wild Wing for our post-show party on his couch 2 blocks away listening.
Can I say the word turd on the radio? Critic,
Sure,
you're a turd. You
he's a
should have
turd.
been here.
I know. But
We'll see ya.
Really
Hopefully
quickly,
he'll be out.
just to show you a couple of instant messages I got popped up at Richard Todd 1250. This one says, "It's so great to hear the 96 Wave family back together. These are the days I miss. What WTMA was to my parents, the Wave was to my generation. Thank you, Richard, for bringing these great people back together. You all rock. Wish the party could continue."
Wow.
This one here says, "I moved here in 1989, and the Wave was my favorite radio station. Since we've now grown up, I still listen to rock and roll, but I listen to talk radio most of the time. I'm pleasantly surprised when Richard joined WTMA on AM." And this one said here, "Richard, I remember Nerf footballs being tossed off the roof of the Howard Johnsons on Dorchester Road to win Def Leppard tickets. You and Adam put a little unfair spin on them."
Yeah, we did a show for 96 hours on top of a hotel.
Yes, to
Right
protest
by
the
the
Navy base
interstate. Yeah.
closing. Yeah.
That was
and,
nuts.
And somebody I know who wishes he could be here and talk about it. I mean, Uncle Miles has some pipes. This guy had some pipes. He was an institution also at the Wave, and we're sorry he couldn't be in the studio with us, but he's calling in. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello and welcome to Mean Michael Blaze. Yeah.
Good morning.
How you
Morning,
doing?
Blaze.
Blaze, man, we're so sorry you're not here in the studio with us. I know you're traveling with the family. It's great to hear from you. How you doing, buddy?
Oh, it's great to hear from you, and it's good to hear everybody back together again. And don't tell anybody, but the real reason I can't be there this morning is that the terms of my probation prevent me from being in the same room as you people.
But Blaze, how long? Well, first, when did you start there? How long were you there doing that?
Oh man, I was there. I think from 90 to 99. I think
that's the heyday.
Yeah, because I remember when I got fired at Wave, and I went over to another radio station, and then when I was about to leave that station to go to TV, I gave you a lifeboat off the sinking ship known as Wave, And then you took my spot, yeah.
We've all been fired by the best media companies in town.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, you know what's funny about that is everybody always thought I was you anyway.
Those poor people.
No, you had the bigger mullet, Blaze.
You sported a classic mullet, man. I had a mullet, but it wasn't quite as good as yours.
Oh, well, I honed that thing for years.
Wait, you know, Blaze, we wanted to do this since because, I mean, really, this was the lineup. It was Taylor and Todd, then it was Uncle Miles, then it was Michael Blaze, and it was Hollie Anderson, and that was
Danny V overnight.
And Danny V, we all believe he's out in California, right?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, by the way, you want to hear my impersonation of Danny V? Danny V impersonation. We got another 40-minute of kick-ass rock and roll on the way. We got a kick-ass wave of rock and roll right around. It's gonna kick ass.
Duke of Darkness.
The Duke of Darkness.
Danny V.
We wanted to do this with you, Blaze. And let me start with you, Blaze. What are you up to nowadays? What are you doing nowadays?
Well, I am a realtor, so I'm out there, swimming against the tide with everybody else right now.
And Miles, you're doing that too, aren't you?
Yeah, actually, I work with Carolina One, downtown Broad Street, 49 Broad Street.
Who do you work for, Blaze? Get a plug in there, man.
5-star real estate.
Sweet.
So, either Miles or myself will do an excellent job for you.
I agree, but either one.
Now, we know, Hollie, you're at the City Paper.
Yeah, I worked on Army Wives the first season, so that was kind of fun. And worked on a couple of TV commercials, the Yukon commercial that's on TV, and been at City Paper for about 3 years.
Well, I always used to hear your voice pop up here and there. And like you said, you did traffic over at some other station in town and pop up on channel on News 2 and whatever. I would ask Jack Hunter, the Southern Avenger, what he's doing, but if you listen to TMA, you already know.
I still got a little hand in the business. I did some TV hunting and fishing shows for a while that ran on the satellite, and then also did a little show here in town for Comcast that was Carolina Wildside.
That's right.
We just got a little bit too busy for that. And just finished doing a voice work for a pilot where they go and film firefighters for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it's going to be like a reality show. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then there's Adam Taylor. Tell everybody what you're up to.
I'm doing a couple of things. I'm with Ripley's Believe It or Not in St. Augustine. That's the original Ripley's Believe It or Not.
I love that place.
And there's
awesome.
Ripley's all around the world.
Actually, St. Augustine's a cool little town.
It is.
Cool.
Really
I'm totally going to visit.
Oldest house in America, St. Augustine.
The longest continuously occupied European colony in what is now the United States. So if Puerto Rico ever becomes part of the United States, technically as a state, we're out. We're SOL. So I'm rooting against that. The Ripley's, I'm in charge of the Ripley's Ghost Train Adventure, which is, we do this amazing ghost tour down in St. Augustine, so y'all got to take that. And I also still do the SAT prep classes.
So if you're down in St. Augustine Beach.
Drive the train?
Do you get to drive the train?
I can drive the train. I have my commercial's driver's license.
Actually, Blaze, I took a trip on the Little Red train at the time, and Adam was the guy who was driving the train, and that was the best tour of St. Augustine you could ever get because it was like this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about, and he's entertaining. He should be on the radio, you know. But Blaze, let me ask you just do people still bring it up to you when they see you around town about the old days, and what do you remember? I mean, when you think 96 Wave, what do you think about?
You know, somebody brings it up every day almost, to tell you the truth. And so it just brings back great memories. I mean, it was a great time. And I remember at the time saying that's what we strove for, was that somewhere down the line in the future, we'd look back as those being our fondest days in radio. And it turned out to be true.
Hey, is your wife anywhere nearby? Because then you could talk about hosting, or if she isn't, all about the Budweiser Bikini Bashes at the Windjammer.
Yes.
Well, you know, I have pretty fond memories of that, too.
I can only imagine. We said some stories are not for public consumption. There may be a couple of them there. But no,
yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
And, you know, Blaze, it's funny. When we leave here and we go to the Wild Wing in North Charleston, Rivers Avenue, we're inviting all the listeners to come out and join us. My God, how many Wild Wild Wednesdays did you spend down there?
Man, I think 8 years of Wild Wednesdays.
And with what's their names? The Collared People.
The Collared
Peoples.
Right. Collared Peoples, yeah.
Good Lord.
I had a guy when I first moved to Charleston. I said, you know, take me out and show me around. And we ended up in a place called Swingles.
Oh, my God! Swingles!
The Collared Peoples were playing, and it was about 3:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden they roll out this cart of collard greens and cornbread. And I thought, wow, man, they even feed you here.
Hey, Blaze, you got a Wave Fest story you want to share real quick that is safe for public consumption?
Oh, that's safe for public. You know what? the Wave Fest that struck me the most was the huge one at Birtlebank Park.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I was in back interviewing. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Driving and Crying. But we were like in the backstage area, and then I came around front, and there were people flailing through the air, being tossed up on blankets and everything.
Oh man! And remember Bob Knowles then from Live 5, the late Bob Knowles, unfortunately, but the story they did about all the body surfing and people being thrown around and the dangerous things that are going on at Wave Fest and everything. And
then didn't we have to ban blankets and chairs?
I think we did. I think so. Yeah, after that happened, with people tossing people in the air.
Yeah, so that was one of those moments where you're like, wow, that's pretty cool, but this could go bad real fast.
Well, you know what? I think you just described the history of 96 Wave right there. This is really cool, but it could go bad real fast. So, well, Blaze, I know you're traveling and enjoying the summer with the family, and it's just great to hear from you. You still got one of those voices that when you hear, you're like, man, this guy's got the pipes, and it's good to know you're still bopping around town with 5 Star Realty. And
oh, absolutely. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you. I mean, what a time to go out of town, but I'm glad I was able to.
Well, we just threw this together haphazardly because Adam's in town for a wedding. We said, we're getting the band back together, man. So Blaze, thank you so much for joining us. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have heard you many, many times over the years and probably had a drink or two with you many, many times over the years, too, who just, have fond memories. And we thank you, and we really appreciate it, buddy.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you, and I miss all of you guys.
You too, Blaze.
Thanks, Blaze.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
We love you, man.
Thanks, Michael Blaze.
Bye, buddy.
Take it easy, man. And